Hi, today I will show you how to convert an Excel file into a fully functional web application in just one click. For this demonstration, we'll be using an inventory management file, but you can use any Excel file you want. So basically, we'll start from here, and at the end of this video, we'll get this web application. So here's the file we'll be working with. I'm using Google Doc here, but you can use your own classic desktop Excel application and you will get exactly the same results. My file contains 3 sheets: products, suppliers, and movements. For each product, we have an SKU, which is a unique identifier we use to track its inventory: a name, a description, category, cost, price, location, where the product is in our warehouse, quantity available, and quantity reorder. For example, for this product, wireless mouse, if the quantity is under 25, we need to reorder the product. Then we have suppliers with code, description, name, let's say, address, email, and phone, and finally movements. Each time we buy or sell a product, we track here an inbound or outbound movement, and as you can see, we have hundreds of movements here with date, the product we buy or sell, the quantity, positive if we buy, negative if we sell, and if we buy the product, we also have the supplier we buy the product from. Okay, your data will be stored in a relational database, and the DBMS can be MySQL, Microsoft SQL Server, PostgreSQL, or SQLite, depending on your preferences. So in a moment, I'll walk you through the entire process. My name is Eugenio. I'm a computer scientist and I teach databases and data science in college. Beyond academia, I'm an entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience in developing no-code, low-code platforms. Okay, I think we can start now. And, to convert the Excel file into a web application, we'll use the no-code, low-code platform DaDaBIK. So first, I need to tell you how to download DaDaBIK. So we open DaDaBIK.com, the DaDaBIK website, then we click on Buy, and we have 2 options here. We can start a monthly subscription where the first month is free. So this is the first option. Start free trial. First month is free. Before the end of the free trial, you will get an email asking you if you want to continue or not. You can cancel anytime. If you want to continue, then is $19 US per month. Okay. The other option is the lifetime license. In this case, you pay once and you use forever. There's no monthly fee, and you have, in this case, 3 editions with different prices and different features. In the pricing page, you will see all the features available for each edition. But I'm using the first option to get the free trial, and also I will give you a coupon code that you can use to get an additional discount. That's Excel25. You can enter the coupon code here, Excel25, and with this code you have the free trial as usual. Then if you want to continue the second month, instead of 19, you will pay 9. Okay, then starting from the third month, you will be charged with $19 per month as standard price. All right, so I will fill this form and I will get back to you soon. Okay, after completing the purchase, you will get this screen. Thanks for your order. And you will receive an email containing two important things: a download link and a serial number. The download link allows you to download DaDaBIK, and you will get something like this. DaDaBIK, well, this is the latest version, 12.4 Aveto, Enterprise Monthly. Okay, this is the zip file you will get. If you want to verify the integrity of the file you downloaded, the email also contains an MD5 checksum. I won't show how to do it, but I recommend to do it for security reasons. So now we can unzip the file. We can unzip the file, and we get this folder. And the folder contains two subfolders: docs, this contains the documentation, and program files. This is the folder containing all the files you need to copy on the machine you want to install DaDaBIK. All right. So I will install DaDaBIK on my local machine, but you can install it on an internet server, on a shared hosting service, on a VPS, on the cloud, wherever you want. It's a web application written in PHP, so you need at least a web server supporting PHP. In my case, right now, I will install DaDaBIK on the machine I'm using to record this video. That is a MacBook laptop. I installed MAMP on this machine. MAMP is a free software that installs in a click the web server Apache and MySQL. So you already have almost everything you need to use to run DaDaBIK. You also need the IonCube loader extension. It's a free PHP extension that you can easily add to your PHP installation. I will not go through this part. It's pretty straightforward, but in case you need help, please write a comment here. All right. So the document root of my Apache web server, the one installed with MAMP, is users Eugenio, my username, sites, and then here, well, it's users Eugenio sites, and inside this folder I created a subfolder inventory. This will contain the application we are going to install. Okay, the result of the conversion from the Excel file. So we just need to copy all the files we have here so here in program files, to this folder. Okay, this is our first step. Second step, before launching the installation script, we need to edit a configuration file that is called, it's in the include folder, and it's called config-custom.php. Okay, config-custom.php. So right now it's almost empty. We need to add some configuration parameters, including username and password we need to connect to our database, to our DBMS. Okay, so the easiest way to fill this file with at least the minimum required parameters is to visit DaDaBIK.com and then manual, and from manual we have a specific chapter here the config.php and config custom PHP files. We click here, okay, and here you have some content to copy and to paste in your config custom file. All right, so here I am now in my editor. This is Visual Studio Code, but you can use any text or code editor you want, and it's open in the folder inventory, the one I created, the one I copied all the files from the program files folder of the DaDaBIK package. So here I open config custom. This is, as I said, almost empty, and we replace the whole content with the one we copied from the DaDaBIK manual. All right, I will also copy this part and this part. These are also two recommended settings I suggest you to use. I will go through these parameters right now, but I also recommend you to check. So this is the file config-custom.php. In another file called config.php that you don't have to edit, you can check for each parameter some useful information. Basically, it's a sort of documentation of the configuration parameters. I'll recommend you to check that documentation for these parameters, so you know exactly what you are doing. Okay, so I will fill the file with my own configuration parameters, but let me briefly explain the meaning of these ones. So serial number here, obviously you need to add here your serial number, the one you got from the email. Then DBMS type, depending on the DBMS you are using, MySQL, SQL Server, PostgreSQL, SQLite, this will be changed. In our case, we will use MySQL, so that's fine. Then we have to give the information, to give DaDaBIK the information to connect to our DBMS, to our MySQL server. So the host is localhost in this case because it's on our machine. If your MySQL server is somewhere else or needs a different host, you have to change this. For example, sometime you may need, instead of localhost, if it's on your own machine, this IP address, that basically means localhost, just in another way. Then we have the database name. Here, maybe we can call it inventory. And then user and password. This is the user and password you can use to connect to your MySQL. So when you install MAMP, I think that by default, the root user, that is the administrator of your MySQL installation, has as password also root. So root. But I recommend you to change the password, and to the change must be reflected here. Then these are two security related parameters, secret key and DaDaBIK session name. You should have here long and complex sentences that will be used as secret key and DaDaBIK session name. I won't go into technical details. Again, you can read the config file if you want more information. And finally, time zone. Europe is the default time zone. You can change it according to your time zone. All right. So for this test, I'm just going to, add some random letters here, but you are supposed to do something better, and also here. Okay. All right. And then I will fill the other parameters as well. All right, now after having saved the config custom file, we can run the installation script. So we move to our browser and we call localhost/inventory/install.php. So in being my local machine and according to what I said before, so my document root was the users Eugenio sites folder. Inside the folder, I created the inventory subfolder containing all my DaDaBIK files. Then localhost/inventory is the URL we can use to access the application, the DaDaBIK application we are building. So in particular, we call the install.php file. Here we can just, this is just, an introduction to the installation process, and I will continue. This is some, requirements check we have, and then next again. Okay, so now we have 4 ways plus 1 to install DaDaBIK to create an application. In our case, we want to build an application based on an Excel or CSV file and install it in the database inventory. Okay, this database will be created automatically by the installation process, so don't worry. Okay, so the next step will ask us for the Excel file to convert, but we don't have the Excel file right now because I was at least I don't have, maybe you already have it locally, but I was working online with Google Docs. So first I need to file, download Microsoft Excel. Okay. All right. Now I have the Excel file ready to be used. So let's continue. Next. So file type is an Excel file. That's fine. We check use first row as labels. That means that here SKU, name, description, and so on and so forth will not be seen as data, but as the label of the fields, which is what we want. And then use first columns as primary key. We also check this option. Basically, let me explain you the meaning. So DaDaBIK here will look at the first column of each sheet and will use this column as a primary key. So as the field that will be used to uniquely identify each row. Okay, or in database terms, each record, because you will see that each sheet you have here will become a table in our application. All right. So with this flag, we will use the first column as primary key. Let's see if it makes sense. For products, yes, it makes sense because SKU is a unique identifier. For suppliers, also makes sense. We have a code that uniquely identifies each supplier. For movements, not really, because the date is not unique. On the same day, you can have multiple movements. But don't worry, because since it's a date, DaDaBIK will consider this field not a proper field to be used as primary key. This is one of the rules, one of the heuristics DaDaBIK uses. So in this case, date will not be used as primary key. DaDaBIK will add an additional, it's called auto increment ID to each movement. Okay, that is exactly the same thing it does if you don't flag this. If you don't flag this, for each sheet, an additional field will be created with the purpose of uniquely identify each row. All right. Okay. Force string import. I unchecked this because I want to try at least my first try is to try to detect the data type of each column. All right. Okay. I leave this empty. I choose the file. All right. I am in the download folder. I click on inventory management. That is the file I downloaded from Google Doc, and open. Okay. Finally, I need to choose an installation password. I will tell you something more later. Okay. Install. Let's wait. Okay. So DaDaBIK has been correctly installed. Let's start the application. View the application. Okay, the first screen is a login screen. By default, DaDaBIK has created two users. A user called root, this is the administrator, and a user called Alfonso that has less permissions, let's say. But the users have the password you set before. So let's try to log in as root. All right. So this is the application that has been created by default in one click, converting the Excel file we had. Before continuing, I forgot to tell you something. In the installation page, the one we get at the end of the installation, there were some instructions that I skipped that said to, for security reason, to after installation to remove some file. Install 2, up to, upgrade, and upgrade to. Okay, not include. You need to remove these files. Okay, after the installation. I will not do it. This is just a demo, but this is what you are supposed to do. All right. So for each sheet in the Excel file, DaDaBIK created a page and a table, a corresponding table here. So we have products, all our products. We have movements, and as you can see here, if I edit a movement, DaDaBIK understood the relationship we had between movements and products. In fact, for each movement, you can choose a product coming from the products table. And then you have suppliers, right? you can do the typical CRUD operations. So you can create, for example, a new product, you can edit an existing product, you can delete, you can search, quick search, advanced search. You can also do additional things like you can generate custom chart, for example, I don't know, pie chart, aggregating data by category and showing the count. Okay, so we have 3 products belonging to the beverages category here. You can import additional data from CSV and Excel. You can export CSV. You can produce PDF. Okay, what else? Well, you also have, if you see here, double click to edit, you also have inline edit, very similar to Excel. So I double click here, I change the name, and that's it. Okay, let me change it back. Okay, you have built-in data validation. So for example, if I create, well, let's edit this supplier and let's change the email to something that is not an email. And we get an error. So email validation, or here, for example, movement quantity ABC. This is not a numeric value. We got an error. All right. Okay, so this is the default application created by DaDaBIK during the installation according to the analysis of your Excel file. But now we can improve it with the no-code features of DaDaBIK. So what I'm going to do in a minute is basically going through the typical workflows involved in inventory management and see if the application as it is works well for the workflow, and if not, improve it. All right. Okay, but before starting that process, I also would like to briefly discuss why you should move from Excel to a web app. I mean, if you're watching this video, you probably already realized the advantages of this transition, but let me briefly discuss them. So first of all, you can easily build and configure user-friendly, responsive, so working well on mobile devices as well, good-looking web forms. So this makes the whole data entry process more enjoyable for your final users, right? Then you can, second point, you can easily embed your web application into an existing website. For example, with DaDaBIK, you have a WordPress plugin, so you can take the application you have created and embed it into an existing website developed with WordPress, for example. You can easily set complex data validation rules, basically to prevent human mistakes. I don't know, for example, you can ask DaDaBIK to check the similarity on a specific field to prevent duplicated insertion. This could be very useful. And as we are going to do, you can implement workflows that reflect your own unique business process. For example, you want to send an email to the head of sales when someone changes a product's information. Well, you can do it in a few seconds without coding. Let's also talk about permissions. That is very, very important. You can easily hide some of your data, rows or fields or entire tables to some of your users. For example, you could ask DaDaBIK to show to each salesperson only the sales belonging to them. That's an example. You can easily build relationships between tables using the so-called lookup fields. That is exactly what we saw before in the movements table, when we movements table. So bot, product, SKU, and code supplier, implement a relationship with the other two tables, right? But you can also implement represent relationships in another way that probably, I will show you that. Another way I was saying, that is the master details form. For example, for each for each product, we will see how to list for each product here all the movements related to that product. Even if the data related to products and movements are stored in two different tables. All right, and that was relationship. More in general, we can say that a solution where your data is stored in a relational database, such as MySQL or SQL Server, typically provides better data integrity, better scalability, concurrency, security, and remember, last but not least, even better querying capabilities. All right? Okay, now let's go with the improvements. Okay, so this is how I would like to proceed. Basically, I would like to try to manage, using the application we got, the typical workflows we have in this context. For example, we'll try to add a new inbound or outbound movement. We'll update the product quantity. We try to add a new product, and so on and so forth. So we'll try this using the app we got straight from the conversion from the Excel file, to see if the app meets our needs, basically. Every time we see room for improvement, we'll take note here in this Google document. Okay, so finally we'll get a list of improvements, and then together we'll implement those improvements with a no-code approach, just by using this feature, edit this app. All right, so let's start. I would like to start with movements. So let's try to add a new movement. Let's say that we are buying some coffee beans. Okay, so movements, create new, date. I'll select the today's date. I can choose the time as well. I select the product SKU. This is the product SKU, related to coffee beans. Let's say quantity 10, and let's say we bought from the supplier 001. All right. Okay, so this is apparently what is happening when we add a new inbound movement that is now tracked here. There are a few things already that I would improve. First of all, let's check the products table, and as you can see, the quantity in stock for this product is still, I don't know if you remember the value before adding the movement, but it was 55 and it is still 55. So we should manually update the quantity from here, which is, not very good. Okay, so this is one of the things I would like to improve. The quantity should be automatically updated according to the inbound and outbound movements. All right, so let me take notes here. Movements, quantity automatically, product quantity automatically updated. Okay, this is the first thing. But even in the movements form, there is more we can do. So I would say that typically when you add a new movement is related to the the date is today's date. So maybe we can improve our application to automatically set today's date instead of asking us to manually select the date. Okay, so automatic date today. What else? Product SQ. This is also not very user friendly. I mean, I remember that this was the SKU for that product, but if you have a lot of products, that is going to be very difficult to remember these codes. So I would add two improvements. The first one is, instead of a classic drop-down menu, I would like something more user-friendly, a more user-friendly control, where I can, search by typing the SKU of the product, and I can and second, I can also see a description of the product, or the name at least. Okay. So SKU searchable plus additional info. And then what else? There's one last thing I can do. Well, this is more a graphic improvement. So this may be this is too wide for quantity, but it's not very important. Maybe I show you how to make it smaller. But the other thing is that code supplier is only useful if we have an inbound movement. Otherwise, we don't need it, right? So we can make this a conditional field, appearing only if quantity is positive. And quantity is positive when we buy something, right? So code supplier must be conditional. Okay. What else? Well, this is more a general thing that we should improve, but for all our tables, we must be more precise, defining what is required and what is not. Here, at the moment, none of these fields are required when you insert or update a movement, but some of them must be. I would say date, SKU, and quantity are. So this is more, we can do something like general improvements, set required fields, and this is something we can do. Okay. Let's move to products. Products, one thing that is kind of related to movement is the fact that probably it would be nice to see for each product all the related movements. Okay, so here I would like to see all the movements related to this product. This is called a master detail view or a subform, and yeah, we can do it. So products, master detail with movements, and then what else? What else? Let's look at the form here. So SKU, okay, name, description. Maybe we can make description bigger, like a text area, but maybe not. But I will show you in case how to do it. Category. This is something that we must change. Here, category is a standard text box, but it's, you know, it would be much better if we have if we changed this using a drop-down menu. Okay, so we have all the available categories that are, you know, a list of predefined values, and users can only choose among those values. So category must be a drop-down menu. Okay. All right. Maybe we can do the same. We will see for location. Probably also location could be a drop-down menu. And I propose to add additional fields to the products table, additional respect to the fields we had in our Excel file, because all the columns we had in our Excel file have been converted in these fields in our web application. But maybe now we want to add more fields. For example, I would add a picture field, so we can upload a picture for each product. And then I would like to show you how calculated fields, I mean, that's another example about calculated fields or formula fields I would like to show here. And in particular for price, I would like to add a price plus taxes field, calculated, so automatically calculated. When I add the price plus taxes is automatically calculated. And since we are dealing with warehouse and inventory management, something that is normally useful, an information that is normally useful, valuable, is the estimated value. Okay, the estimated value for each product that is based on the cost of the product multiplied by the quantity in stock. That's another field we want to add, and it's also calculated. Okay. All right, and that's it for products. Suppliers, I think the supplier is fine. Code, description, maybe this should be name, address, email, and phone, and that's fine. The other big improvement I would like to implement is this one. So this is just standard welcome message you have in the home page. I want to convert this home page in a dashboard page, and here, so dashboard, And here in this dashboard, I would like to show some charts and in general some useful information for your business. So the first chart I want to show here is the estimated value by category. So maybe we can have a bar chart here showing by category, so for each product category, the estimated value in our warehouse. Then I would like to show what else? Okay, that's very important. The list of understock products. So the products for which the quantity in stock is less than the quantity reorder. Okay, less and equal to, or equal to. And finally here I also want to show you a line chart with the trend of sales trend for a specific product. Maybe we have a specific product we want to monitor, and here we will see the sales trend month by month for that product. Then we need to work on the users, right? So at the moment we have two users, the ones created by default by DaDaBIK, root, the admin user, and Alfonso. But I would like to have, I would say, at least two user groups. User groups, let's talk about permissions here, and let's say user groups. I would say managers and employees. So two user groups, managers and employees. Managers, the users belonging to the managers group can do everything. Employees can read everything, can only add, edit, delete movements. Okay, let's say that for employees, we don't want to allow them to change the suppliers or to add, delete suppliers and products, only movements. All right, and I also would like to show you the owner permissions. So another little thing we would like to do is for employees, they can only edit, each employee can only edit or delete the movements they created. Owner permission. So this is another little improvement we can enforce for our permissions. So not only employees can only insert, update and edit movements, not products or suppliers, but they also can edit and delete only the movements they have created. So if the employee, so for example, the employee Bob cannot delete a movement created by the employee Alice. Okay, that's another little thing I would like to show you. Finally, I would work a little bit on the layout of this application. So we can change the logo, change the font, change the color, maybe improve the forms layout. We can do at least these 4 things. All right, so this is our plan. So I think we are ready to start now. All right, so let's start with the improvements for movements. I would do this later because it's a little bit more complex. Let's start with simple things. So automatic date. So this is the application that our users will use, basically. Since we are admin, I'm logged in as root, I can access this admin area, edit this application. If I click here, a different, completely different part of the application will appear that is, dedicated to developers, and from here I can basically change the configure, edit my application. In particular, let's talk about movement. When I want to work on forms, I need to select this page. I need to go to this page, form configurator. So the form configurator allows to configure each form in our application. Forms are typically based on a table or a view. We don't know what is a view, at least we don't know it yet, but let's talk about table for the moment. We have basically 3 tables, movements, products, and suppliers. For movements, we want to configure the field date, okay? For each field, you have many settings here. During this video, I'm not going to show you all these settings. We'll focus on, the few settings we need for this application. Maybe I mention some of the others, but it should. I mean, you can go through all these parameters. Most of them have an inline help. You can, you can click here and get some additional information. All right. So date. The label for the field is date. That's fine. If you change the label here, it will be reflected here. Here you have a preview of the form as it will appear here in the real application. Okay. At the moment, as a field type, this is a very important parameter, field type. We have several field type, text, text area, date, date time, select single. We will see some of them. At the moment, we have date time as a field type. A date time field is a field where you can choose a date and a time for this pickup calendar. But we said that we want to get the date automatically. So we can choose this insert date time. So insert date time is a field type for which DaDaBIK automatically insert the current date and time in the field when you create a new record. As you can see, the field disappeared from the insert form. Here we are previewing the insert form because it's not needed, right? We don't need to manually set the date and time. So this was our first improvement. Okay, so we can go here and mark this as done. Obviously, then I'll test if everything is working as expected, but let me implement a few improvements first. SKU searchable plus additional information. So we said that here we don't want this classic drop-down menu. We want something more user-friendly. So we change the field product SKU. For field type, we have select single. Select single is literally an HTML select field for which you can choose a single value. Okay, a single value. Sorry, this one. Okay, select single. These values come from the products table. Here you can see lookup table name products. So this means that what you see here comes from the products table. Okay, if I add a new product here, you will see an additional option here, and here you have the primary key of the lookup table, that is SKU, what uniquely identify each record in products, and here the so-called linked fields. So what we want to show here in the menu, which is different or might be different respect to what we store in our database. So in our database we store the SKU, but we want to show to the user something more than the SKU, okay? Or maybe something completely different. Maybe we can leave the SKU, but we add another linked field, and we add the name of the field. SKU plus name, okay? Right? So this is what the user will see. But again, on our database is normalized, technically we say, so we will, at least for this part is normalized, so we will store the SKU and not the SKU plus the name, okay, and save. Well, not only that, but we want to make it user-friendly searchable. Yes. You will see later what this means. Well, maybe we can already, this is something that is not previewed, but you have to check the final application from here. So you can see the two differences. First difference is that you don't have anymore the classic drop-down menu. You can search, for example, coffee, okay, and also you don't have the date time field, because it's automatically available. Well, automatically set. Sorry. What was the last? Okay, this is also done. Code supplier must be conditional. Okay, that's another thing I can show you right now. We said that code supplier must be conditional. Here we have our no-code logic, conditional fields and formula fields. So we want to display code supplier only if, so show only if the quantity is greater than 0. All right, because if it's at least 1, it means we are buying something, and so it makes sense to have the code supplier. And save. Okay, let's see if it works. All right, so also the code supplier disappeared. Let's try to add a new movement. So again, let's try with coffee. Quantity, let's write -12. Still no code supplier. But if I write 12, then the code supplier appears. Okay, let's try to insert this movement. Here we go. As you can see here, we have the date and time automatically set. So let's continue with products. I would go here. Category must be a drop-down menu. So let's go to products and let's choose category. Right now, category is a text, has text as a field type. Text means a text box, right? And we want to change this. We want to use a select single. Category is now a select single, but we don't have any options yet. This time, instead of having a lookup table, we set the options here. Okay, custom list of options. So every time you have a select single, you can either get the values, the options from an external table. In that case, you'll get a lookup field, or you can define a custom list of options here. And I will do it. I have here the list of all the categories we have in our Excel file, so I will just add them here. We have office, supplies, enter, and then we have furniture, enter, beverages, and cleaning supplies. And I think that's it. Okay, let's see if we forgot something. Okay, all right. No, I think I didn't add electronics, right? So let me add electronics. And let's see if it works as expected. Yes. Okay. All right. So this is done. Then we want a picture field. Okay. This time, since we don't have a picture field in the products table, we have to add the field. So we need to move to another page, the data page. From the data page, you manage the actual data structures used by DaDaBIK to represent your information. So basically here we have tables and views. Again, we don't know what is a view, but we know what is a table. At the moment we have movements, products, and suppliers. So in the products table, we want to add a new field, add field, and we call it picture. Okay, here we have to choose the field type, and this can be, if you are new to DaDaBIK, this can be confusing because you saw a field type before in the form configurator. So here you have a field type and you are seeing another field type here. So what's the difference? So if you're familiar with databases, this is the field type of the related to the database. So you know, in typical relational databases, you have a set of general field types, like you have integer, you have decimal, you have float, you have varchar, you have text. These field types determine the kind of data you can store in the field. And that's exactly the field type we are setting. So short text is a more user-friendly, let's say, version of the varchar 255 database field type. So if you are familiar with databases, short text is on MySQL varchar maximum 255 characters. All right. So then I tell you the difference between this field type and the other one. But let me continue the discussion here. So here you have a few field types to choose from: integer, decimal, float, short text, long text, date and time, and time. Most of them are pretty, straightforward to understand. So obviously, if you choose integer number here, only integer numbers will be allowed in that field. What you have here instead, or better, the combination of field type plus content type, which is something we haven't seen yet, is something more specific. So for example, let's take, let me give you an example with this email. So email is set here as a short text. Short text basically means that you can have here alphanumeric from the point of view of MySQL, so the DBMS, the database management system we are using behind the scenes. This can be an alphanumeric string, so it can contain letters and numbers up to 255 characters. Okay, that's it. Here we can, so suppliers email, we can do more, we can specify more, we can be more specific about how to treat this field. We say that in our form this should be represented with a text box, so that's why it's text, and that the content is an email. So here we are just saying that, here we are just saying that is a short text. Here we say not only it's a short text, it must be an email. So when we enter a record here, DaDaBIK will check at least if from the point of view of the syntax the email is valid. All right, that's the difference. So for picture we choose short text. Why? Because when we add in DaDaBIK, in a DaDaBIK application, a field that represents a file, like here, a picture, what DaDaBIK stores in the database is not the file itself, is the name of the file. Okay, and while the file itself is stored in the file system, so short text is fine. We need to choose. We skip the other options because it's not. They are not useful at the moment. The only other thing I want to show you is nullable. Here, we must choose if the field can be or not null, and we say yes, because we can enter a product without a picture. So this field can be null, and save. Okay, this is the field in the data page. Now let's go to the form configurator, products, picture. Okay, we need to do something here. I will tell you later. As field type, DaDaBIK by default set image file. That is correct, based on some heuristics on the name of the field. DaDaBIK set this as image file. That is exactly what we need. But for example, if here we find text, we just, change to image file. Image file is a field type that DaDaBIK manages this way. When you insert or update a record, you have, we will see in a moment, a form element that allows you to upload a picture. And in all the other parts of the interface, the picture is displayed. Okay? So, before continuing, however, as you can see, we got an error here. Because we need to explicitly enable uploads if we use image file for security reasons. So we need to go back to, do you remember the config custom file? Well, we need to go back there and change and add this parameter. The error refers to config.php, but the correct file is config custom.php. This is, probably an old error message when config custom wasn't available yet. Okay, so I'll go back to Visual Studio Code. I copy this. Enable uploads equal to 1 and save. And let's reload. Okay, all right. So image file and well, that's it. Okay, save. Picture field and okay, and let's see if it works. Products, go back. Okay, I have some test pictures to use. One was for the, okay, these three. Okay, so this is the coffee. I just, it was very fast, but let me do it again. I select the file from my file system. It's a picture I have locally. Okay, and save. Here we go. Let's move to the next product, green tea, and save, and also the espresso. Okay, so as you can see, we have now 3 pictures for 3 of our products. All right, so let's work on our first calculated field, price plus taxes. So we go back here and we add a new field, price taxes, on the products to the products table. And what about the field type? So let's check price. So price was set as an integer number. Why? Probably because if you remember, when we import the Excel file, we unchecked force string import, right? With that option, everything is imported as a string. If we uncheck that option, DaDaBIK tries to detect the field type correctly. However, it uses the first row to understand the field type. So if you have mixed data in a column, this can lead to mistakes. Like if the first row, in the first row, a value is an integer, and then in the second is a decimal, well, DaDaBIK will set that field as an integer. In our case, all the prices were without decimals, but I want to tell you that so you are aware of that. So we have price that was integer, price plus taxes well, cannot be integer, because if we add like, for example, 5% taxes, we get a decimal number, and here we have we have two options: decimal number or float number to represent numbers with decimal values. What's the difference? Well, every time you need precision, accuracy, when even small rounding errors are not allowed, you should use, for example, with money, if that is the case, you should use decimal number. Remember that in particular here we are using MySQL as a relational DBMS. A decimal value here is a number having 12 digits and 2 decimal digits, maximum 2. So you should be aware of that. For our application, 2 decimal values are fine for the price plus taxes. Float number instead can represent again decimal values, but in this case you can experience small rounding mistakes. But on the other side, typically float numbers are faster when you query, and they take less storage space. So for certain applications they are better. And even if you need to represent, for example, very small numbers that you couldn't represent with decimals, well, float number is the right field type. I'm simplifying a little bit because decimal versus float is a big topic. If you Google that, you will find many pages about this topic. However, again, for our example, decimal is fine. Nullable, well, in general, every time you add a new field and in your table you have existing data already, you should choose nullable yes, because at least those records, for those records, the value of this field must be will be null. And then maybe when you will update all the existing records, then you can move to no. Okay, but at the moment, yes is fine. All right, so here products, now we have price taxes, but okay, we want to do a few things. We want to change the label, we want to move the field here, and we want to make it a calculated field. So I don't need to manually add the price plus taxes. So we go to form configurator, and yes, products, price taxes, the label plus taxes, and then we want to move this here before location, so position from 11 to 7. Okay, and finally it must be a calculated field. So you have two options for implementing calculated fields. One involve the use of some code. The other one is no code, and that's the one we are going to use right now. Is the formula field. So this is a formula field, and here we specify the formula. So we can say that this price plus taxes is equal to, I open a curly bracket, that means we are getting the value of a field of this form, or even of a linked form. We will see that later. So we want price, I close the curly bracket, and let's say that we have 5% taxes. I multiply by 1.05. Okay, and that's it. Price multiply by 1.05. This is our formula. Let's go back here and let's see if it works. So create new. As you can see now, it's gray, is disabled because I cannot type price plus taxes here because it's already because it's a formula field. Let's say 10, and I get 10.5. Okay, so this value is automatically calculated by the application. We don't have to manually set it. There are two important things I want to tell you about that. The first one is obviously, I mean, right now I'm inserting a new product. So I will specify the price, and price plus taxes will be automatically calculated, right? Good. But for all the existing products, price plus taxes is still null. Okay, so the fact that we added a formula to price plus taxes doesn't automatically update all the existing records. But if we enter this record, then price plus taxes is calculated. But they have to save first. Okay, otherwise it's just displayed in the form. Okay, the other thing I want to tell you is exactly related to this kind of rounding mistake. Well, if you add 5% taxes to 9, you get 9.45, right? Try yourself. However, here we have 945,000, blah 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 1. Why? And what happens when I save this product? Because we said that price plus taxes was a decimal field, right? With 2 decimal digits. So what is happening right now? Let me save first. When I save, well, I still get this, but this is, the calculation. But if I go back here, and here I'm getting the value, the data directly from the database, I see 945, because in the database, 945 is the value that is stored, because it's a decimal value. When I enter here, this is the result of a real-time computation. So what is happening here? I don't want to go into too much technical details, but because of the way the application interact with MySQL, at some point these values are treated as a float instead of decimals. That's why we get this this value that is not really precise. Okay, it's not exactly 9.45. The thing is that for our application we are good, because finally when we save, it will be rounded and we'll get the exact value. However, we must say that if you chain multiple mathematical operations, these small mistakes can become bigger, and at some point you may see a difference in the final result. So be aware of that when you deal with decimal values again, and when you make calculations on them. All right. So this was our price plus taxes field. All right. Now I want to work with this and this. Actually, this one is necessary. Adding this feature is necessary to get this one. Because, well, I will tell you later why. So we want to have movements in master detail with products. So let me remind you what this means. For each product, we want to see here the list of related movements. Form configurator, products, we choose the primary key of products, so the field that uniquely represent each product. And here, in the master details section or subforms, we add an items table. The table we want to add is the movements table. And the second parameter we have to set is items table foreign key field name. That is product SKU. What does it mean? So here, if you are familiar with databases, probably with relational databases, probably you know what is a foreign key, but the meaning here is not, strictly speaking, the relational database's foreign key. Here we are just asking to set what is the field in movements that links to products. So the field that contains the reference to the product that the movement is related to. In the movements table, maybe here you can see that better. In the movements table, we have a DaDaBIK ID, that is the primary key of movements. Do you remember in movements we have a date as a first field? I told you that DaDaBIK wouldn't use this field as primary key, so it added an additional auto increment field. Then we have the date, the quantity, the code of the supplier, and the product SKU. This is our field, the field that represent for each movement the product the movement is related to, and that's why we need to choose this field and save. Okay, I'm reloading this page. Here we go. All the movements related to this product, 25 items. And I was saying that this is something we need to, this is something that is useful for our application in general, because for each product we can immediately see here all the related movements. And not only that, when we want to add an inbound or outbound movement, we now have two methods. We can create a new movement from here specifying the SKU, or we can from products, for example, let's say we want to add a new movement for this product. We enter here and we create a new movement from here. And as you can see, the correct SKU is already set. Okay, so this is something that is, a good improvement of our application anyway. But also this allows us to work on this part that is very important: product quantity automatically updated. So as we said before, quantity stock now is completely unrelated to the movements, right? So basically every time we add movements we have to manually change this, and this is not what we want. So what we can do is, again, we can use a formula field, quantity stock. I'll write the formula and then I'll explain it. Sum, as you can see, DaDaBIK suggests me one operator I can use, that is sum. Sum of what? Of brackets, curly brackets, movements dot quantity, and I close the parentheses. The sum of all the quantity. Some of the records of the movements table will contain positive quantity, some other negative quantities, but if you sum, you know, you get the correct result. So if you have a cell, so a negative quantity, this will be subtracted to the previous amount. Now, maybe you can wonder how the application will know which records of the movements table to consider, because we didn't specify anything here. And so you may think, okay, but this will sum together all the quantity values you have in the movements table, regardless of the product. No, because well, because of the fact that we set a master detail relationship here, because of that, first of all, we can use in a formula field of the products table also the fields we have in the movements table. Because if you don't have any relationship as a lookup field or as a master detail view, you cannot use the value of other tables as formula element in a table. Okay, so because of that, we can use a field that is in movements and not in products. But also, when we use aggregate functions like sum, average, count, only the records of the items table related to that specific record in the products table we are considering will be considered. Okay, so when you are in a think about a record of the products table, for example this one, this formula sum movements quantity will add together all, maybe we can do this so we show all the movements. This formula will add all these values, okay, all and only these values, because are the quantity of the movements of the 25 movements related to this product. Okay, so let's save here. Let's see what happens now. Well, once again, as we said before, these are not automatically calculated for all the existing records, right? As we said before, for price plus taxes. So, but let's try to reload this form. So at the moment, quantity is 75, and it was, you know, a value hard-coded there. Now, if I reload this, the actual computation will calculation will be done. So the quantity calculated is 77. All right. So now let's say that I change something in my movements here. For example, let's say that this was a mistake. It's not 10, it's 20. Save and go back. The quantity has been updated. The same will happen if I create a new item. The same happens if I delete an item from here, from the items table. Okay. All right, so let's go back to our document, and this is done. And this is done as well. Estimated value. So for each product, well, we need to add the field first, estimated value, and that's a decimal number, nullable for the moment. And then in form configurator, product estimated value. All right, so the estimated value is basically the quantity multiplied by the cost. Okay, so you would be tempted to do something like quantity stock multiplied by cost. Okay, this makes sense. However, when you use, this is documented in the manual, when you use as parameter of your formula field a field that in turns is also a calculated field, like in this case quantity is a calculated field, then you can get unexpected results. So I recommend to express this formula in another way. So instead of using the calculated field directly, we compute again the quantity here. So we use exactly the formula we used before. Sum movements dot quantity. Remember, it means the quantity field in the movements table, close, multiply by cost. All right, that's it. That is the safe way to compute the estimated value. Save. Okay. Reload, and the estimated value is 695 whatever dollars, euros. We didn't specify, I guess, the currency. All right, once again we have to save, and that's in fact the only product having the estimated value right now. Okay, all right, our next steps, we have dashboard, permissions, required fields, and layout. I would do the layout first. It's a nice and easy thing to do. Before continuing, if you are enjoying this video, take a moment to like it, and let me spend a couple of words about this channel. We primarily discuss no-code and low-code application development with DaDaBIK and its twin application called appifytext.ai. Most of the time, we basically build applications together, focusing mainly on internal tools. So for example, we have created a CRM, a help desk system, a restaurant management system, a school management system, a car rental system. So if you want to stay updated, you want to see the next application, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And obviously, if you have suggestions for the next application you'd like to see here, feel free to propose your suggestion in the comments. All right. So we are going to work on the layout now. So we have a few tools, we have a few options to change the layout of the application. The easiest one is to work here, again in the admin area, layout page. Here we have some basic settings that we can change very easily. The first thing we can do is to change the logo of the application, because by default our application has the DaDaBIK logo, but you can use your own logo. You can either propose here, set here the URL of your custom logo, or you can upload it, okay? And the second thing, we can change the application title, what you see here in the browser window, that by default again is DaDaBIK related, but you can change it. So first thing, I will upload a logo. It's a very simple logo I created on Canva. So it's logo inventory management.png. Okay, uploaded. You will see the logo after saving this page. Application title, we can call it inventory management system, and let's save. Let's go back here. Here we go. So this is our logo, and as you can see also the title of the page has changed. What else? So theme and appearance. So here we can change the font of our application, the main font of our application. By default it's this one, Manrope. Well, we can, for example, change well, here you can see a preview. Okay, maybe we can stay with Open Sans, or whatever you want. What about the theme? The theme is basically a combination of 8 colors that compose the color palette of the application. This is the default one, but as you can see, you have several themes. And when you choose a theme, I'm quite a fan of Pine and Ash. This one, you see the color palette here. All right. So, well, we can try, for example, this theme, and as you can see, both the font. I don't know if you notice that, but for sure you can notice the colors that have been changed. In case you want to build, you want to set your own color palette, then you can just move to custom, and here you can choose for each color, left menu, background color, standard buttons, custom buttons, danger buttons, and so on and so forth. You choose your own color. Okay, this is custom, but we will stay with this theme that I quite like. What else? So here you have some settings about the grid. So this tabular grid and the menu. But if you want to have, if you want to customize even more the colors or other graphic related settings, you can use custom CSS. So if you know CSS, you can add here your own styles in CSS. All right, you can just right here, save, and everything you add here, like for example, this is an example, H1 font family Times New Roman. That means that all the headings level 1 will be in Times New Roman. Let's see. Okay, so this is now in Times New Roman. So everything you write here, override what you set before, basically. And since almost all the elements in a DaDaBIK application have a class or an ID, it's very simple to apply a specific style to each. element. Okay, you can use Bootstrap. Bootstrap is loaded by DaDaBIK by default, so you can use it. Well, that's it basically. What else? You have data grid templates. That's another more specific way to change the graphic layout of your application, focused on the grid basically. So here, for each page, you see the records through a classic data grid, right? But you can completely change this grid and write your own way to display the data using data grid templates. So here I want to show you an example here, because it would take time. We have an example here, the movies library demo on the DaDaBIK.com website, where you can see the data grid templates in action, and you will see that this part of the application is completely different. It's not even a grid anymore. So if you know HTML, you can work on that. Then what else? Layout hooks. So basically, there are, let me check the number because I don't remember, 15 different parts of your application that are hooks. What does it mean? It means that basically you can add your own custom HTML, JavaScript or PHP code there. For example, here you have a hook. This is an after heading hook. This, for example, is an after results grid header hook. And it can be specific for each table. So basically you have a file where you can add the content of your hooks. So if you want to write something here, add whatever, a picture, a text, some code, you will add your content to the supplier's results grid after heading hook. Okay, so and you have many of these elements around your application, so you can literally customize very much the application itself. Okay, one more thing about the layout is about the form layout. So far we worked on forms using the form configurator, but we basically left the forms as they were, right? So one field under the other without any separator, just plain forms. But you can work on that on form configurator. You can, for example, I don't know. Let's say that you want to have a name and description on the same line, and you want to add a title on the top of these two fields. Okay, so we can do something like here, name, separator before this field, and well, we can write general info, and here we go, we have the title, and we can do it for the 4 different forms. Okay, general info, and then we can say new line after this field, again in the 4 different forms we have, no, 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 and no. So now we have name and description on the same row with a title here. Okay, so this is an example of what you can do without any coding to, adjust the layout of the forms according to your preferences. Okay, layout, logo, font, colors. Okay, let's move to dashboard. So we said that we want to have here a dashboard with some useful information, and in particular we talked about the estimated value by category, list of understock products, and sales trend for a specific product. So let's start with the first estimated value, a bar chart showing the estimated value by a product category. Okay, so the first problem we have here is that we only have the estimated value for one product. Why? Because we added the formula after, when in our database there were already some records, and we need to save the value for all the products to get the estimated value. Okay, for all the products. Let me see here. Okay, almost done. Okay, let me save also these last products, and we are almost done. Okay, all right, so just to clarify, I just went through all the products, all the 20 products I had, and I click on save to store the estimated value in the database. Obviously this was easy because I only had 20 products. In case you have a lot of records to update, it's better to do it in another way. I won't cover this part, but in case you need that, you can ask in the comments. All right, so now we have the estimated value. We can generate a chart from here. Generate chart. We stay with the simple report. We also have advanced SQL report that need to be enabled in our config custom file and allows us to write the report code in SQL, but this is not what we want to do right now. So we'll do this report no code. So bar chart, and we aggregate the data by category because we want to see the we said the estimated value by category, and we need the sum of the estimated value. So let me explain it again. We have 20 products. We group together the products having the same category, and for each group we sum together the estimated value. Okay? Okay, from here we see that furniture has by far the highest estimated value respect to the other categories. Okay, so yeah, I mean, this is the chart. Obviously you can create the chart anytime. You just, as we can see, you click on generate chart, you set your aggregate data by parameter and the other parameters, and you generate it. But what we want to do is to embed this into a page, so we don't have every time to redo all these steps. So what we need to do is to click here, show embed code, and copy this code. This is some HTML code that allows us to embed this chart in a page. And what we want to do is to embed it in the home page. So next thing we will see is this one. We go to pages. From this page called pages, we have the list of pages, basically everything you see here, even if sometimes for some pages you don't see them in the menu because of the settings we may choose, but in our simple example we see all the pages. So movements, product, suppliers. These are pages based on database tables. We have other kind of pages, and in particular we have custom pages. We only have one custom page in this application, and that's the home page. The home page, that is an HTML page. We have 4 different type of custom page. I prefer not to discuss the other ones for the moment. So this is an HTML page whose content is here. So here you see the content we have here. Congratulations, this is the home page of the DaDaBIK application, blah blah blah. Okay, so first of all, this is the page name. We want to change it and we call it dashboard. And also we change the content. We need to paste the content here, but well, we can write content here. So well, dashboard, for example, we can write dashboard and format this as heading 1. Okay, and then add some text here. Now we need to embed the code we copied for from the chart page, right? But we cannot embed it here. Sorry, we cannot copy it here because it's code, it's HTML code. So we have to go to Tools, Source Code, and here copy and save. So this is our chart. Save. Here we go, dashboard. Remember that every time we embed a report, it's not a picture, it's not a static picture, that the chart is recomputed every time. So if right now the estimated value for, I don't know, electronics changes, well, if I reload this, this will be affected. Okay, so for the moment, let's just paste here all the charts, reports we want to use, and then we will arrange the layout. Okay, so we said estimated value by category, list of understock products, list of understock products. Okay, so products. To do that, I have to introduce the concept of view. So what is a view? A view, let's simplify the concept. Think about it as a virtual table based on a real table. So for example, let's take the products table containing 20 products. We can create a view based on products, saying we only need for the view, and let's call this view electronic products. The electronic products view will contain only, well, will contain data from the products table, but only the ones having as category electronics. Okay, that's a view. If I change the original table, the products table, so if I add, for example, a new product having category electronics, the view is automatically updated because it's based on the table products. All right. So views are very powerful in DaDaBIK because once you create a view, you can use it exactly as a table in your application. almost as a table. Maybe I will tell you something more about later, but at least for the example we will see, yeah, exactly as a table. So how can you create a view? So you go to the data page, we have tables and we have views. So far, the views section is empty, so we create a view, and we would like to create a view containing the products for which the quantity in stock is, let's say, less than the quantity reorder. Okay, and well, that's our definition of understock products. So we create a view called understock products, okay, as select asterisk. Well, I'll write the whole comment here and then I'll explain. Okay, from products where I don't remember, quantity stock less than quantity reorder. Okay, we can do less than or less or equal than. Probably this is more correct. Anyway, the idea is we select all the columns from the products table, but not all the rows, only the rows where the quantity in stock is less or equal to the quantity reorder. Okay, this is the list of our understock products. I think it's very should be very simple to understand. It's basic SQL, and the only additional thing I need here is we need to write here the unique field name of our view, and as unique field name we will use the primary key of products, so is SKU. So basically here we need to tell DaDaBIK which field uniquely represent each record in our view. Create view. Okay, understock products. Let's see if we already see here. Yes, we do, and we have two products that are under stock. Okay, for these two products, the quantity in stock is in fact less than the quantity reorder. Again, this is based on products, so if you change the quantity stock or quantity reorder here, you will see that reflected here. We can try, So for example, okay, noise cancelling headphones 13, let's say that it should be 23, and now we have 3 understock products. But okay, this is good, but what we want to do is to add this grid in our dashboard. So again, show embed code, we copy the iframe, we copy the code, we go to pages, dashboard, source code, and here we go. Okay, save. All right. Then next list of understock products. sales trend for a specific product. So basically we want to focus on a specific product and see on a line chart the sales month by month. Okay, so we need to choose, to make a good example, we need to choose something having several movements. For example, this one, as far as I remember, this product has 48 movements, so it could be a good example. And so we focus on this SKU. Okay, so even in this case we need a view. The view will be used to have the data about the sales, and then we'll create the chart on the view. Let me show how I want to proceed. So data, what was the name? Okay, let's call it A4. So I create a view and I call it A4 trends as select. So let's do it step by step. We need to select the data from movements, right? Not all the rows, only the one where the product SKU is equal to this one. So we take only the movements related to that product. And so two conditions, but they both need to be true. And the quantity must be less than 0. Why? Because if it's less than 0, then that movement is an inbound movement. So it's a sale. Otherwise, it's a buy. Correct? So, and quantity less than 0. What we need here, so in the previous view, I used the asterisk because I needed all the columns. This time I don't. I just need, let's say, the quantity, and what else? The date, of course. And we also need, once again, a field that we can use as unique field, a field that uniquely represents each record. And for movements, since our view is based on movements, it was DaDaBIK ID. Do you remember? It was the field automatically added by DaDaBIK. It's an auto increment field. So every time you add a movement, a value for that field is automatically set. For the first record is 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and so on and so forth. Okay, DaDaBIK ID, quantity, date from movements, where product SKU, let me double check here, yes, and quantity less than 0. The unique field name is DaDaBIK ID. Okay. However, there is a little thing we have to change here. So if you think about this query, basically for each sale we have the DaDaBIK ID, the quantity, and the date. So we say we know that on a specific date we sell 10, quantity 10 of this product, and on another date we sell quantity 20, and so on and so forth. But this quantity is negative, right? It's -10, -20, and this is not good when we need to create the chart. So instead of quantity, we select minus quantity. So the negative values will become positive. Okay? Create view. Okay, this is our view, and now we can create a chart based on that. So this time is a line chart, and we want to see, we want to aggregate the data by date, but instead of aggregating by date, so if you just aggregate by date, you will see the amount of product sold for each day. But we want to aggregate by month. So if we choose a date field, we can then choose another parameter here, like month, year, week, and so on and so forth. We select month, and we show what? The sum of quantity. Let's see. Here we go. Maybe we can make it wider. Okay. So this is the trend of our sales for that specific product month by month. January 2023, February 2023, March, April, and so on and so forth until November 2024. Okay? An important thing to notice here, I don't know if we have data for all the months here, but anyway, in case you don't have data for a specific month, in this case, because we are aggregating by month, then you won't see that month in the chart. Okay, this is an important thing to be aware of. Once again, show embed code, copy the code here, and we can paste it in our dashboard. Okay, all right. So now we have just we have just the charts here without any title one under the other. We can make it better. For example, we can I don't know, we can put these two charts close to each other with two titles, and then another title for this table here. The easiest thing to arrange, probably the easiest thing to arrange the layout of your dashboard is using tables here. If you are familiar with HTML, you can also work on the code and use divs, but otherwise tables are very intuitive to arrange elements in your dashboard. So we can create a table 2 by 2, for example, here, and we can move this chart here and this chart here. Okay, and here we can add some titles. So this was estimated value by category, and here we had sales trend for A4 paper, and okay, heading 2, heading 2. All right, and then we add here under stock products. Let's see. Okay, good. Seems good. Now maybe we don't want this border. This is a table, that's why we have a border here, but we don't want that. So table properties, border 0, and save. No. Okay. All right. So our dashboard is done. So dashboard done. Let's talk about permissions now. So let's open our users and groups pages. So in DaDaBIK, in a DaDaBIK application, you have users and you have groups. And obviously users belong to groups. One user can belong to one or more groups. By default, when you create a DaDaBIK application, you have 2 users, the root user belonging to the admin group and the Alfonso user belonging to the default group. We don't need this user. I want to create new users and new groups, but we always need the admin group. So what we can do is in groups, first of all, we delete the default group, and deleting the default group, also the users belonging to that group are deleted automatically. So we have just one user and one group at the moment. Okay. So we said that we need 2 groups, managers and employees. So first of all, groups, create new, managers and employees. Okay, these are our 2 groups. And now we need to add users to those groups. So users, create new, username, let's say that Bob is our manager. We need to set a password. Okay, force password change. By default, if the admin user create a new user setting a password, next time this new user, in this case Bob, logins in the system asks him, in this case, to change the password. This is just, a tutorial, so I set this as no, but in a real system I recommend to leave it to yes. And by the way, users, if you enable this feature, can also register by themselves. Okay, and also we can choose if we want to enable 2-factor authentication. We don't, just to make things faster. All right, so Bob, and then let's say that we have 2 employees, Alice and Tom. Okay. All right, so now we have to assign permissions to these groups. The admin group already had the permissions to basically do everything, but we can also change the permissions for the admin group if we want. From here, permissions, we do everything. One important thing to remember is that by default, the admin group always has these two additional permissions that you cannot change. The first one is that a user belonging to the admin group can access the admin area. So this part of the application that you access when you click on edit this app. If you don't belong to the admin group, you cannot see this part. The one we use to, customize the application. The second built-in permission is the possibility to add and manage other users and groups. So only if you are an admin, you can do that. So if you log in as a non-admin user, you don't even see this part. Okay? All right. So now we said that basically managers can do everything. So what we can do, well, maybe first I show you how to set the permissions, and then I will tell you, a shortcut to set the permission in our specific use case. So when you are in permissions here, configure group permissions, you can choose a table, a view, or a custom page, a group, and then set the permission. So for example, products, group managers, and here we go. These are all the permissions that at the moment are all set to no. Basically, the users belonging to the managers group cannot do everything. I mean, they can log in the application, but that's it. So we need to assign permissions. Table level permissions, so the permission to read, delete, edit, create, see the details page, and export in CSV. Field level permissions, so for each field, what these users can do. So for example, the description of the products, they can see the description in the results grid, but they cannot edit, for example. They can create and they can see the details. They can do the quick search. This is the quick search, the one you see here, they can do the quick search on that field and also the advanced search. This is the advanced search. And they can only see, and they can also see the field in the CSV. Okay, so this is, for example, is a permission setting you can have. And as you can see, it's very granular. So for each combination of table and field and group, you can set yes or not. Okay, so we should do that for all the pages or the tables or the views, but since we already set the permissions, or basically we didn't, but by default admins got the permissions we liked, we can just copy the permissions from the admin group to the managers group. Copy permissions from group admin to group managers for everything. We leave this empty, that means everything. Okay, let's see. Products, managers. Okay. All right. So now managers have the same permissions as admin. Again, except from the two built-in admin permissions. So the possibility to enter the admin area and the possibility to work on users and groups. Okay. We can try. So I can log out here and log in as Tom. Tom. Oh, okay. No, sorry. It was Bob. He was Bob. Bob. Okay, so we have, exactly the same application. However, we don't have the admin folder here with users and groups, and we don't have the button edit this application. That is exactly what we wanted to get. Log out. Let's log in again as root. And let's go back here in permissions. Okay, now we want to do the same for, well, we need to set permissions also for employees. So even if in this case we can set the permissions manually, or we can copy from another group. Okay, I'll choose the second option, and so I copy from managers to employees for everything. So in this case, obviously, after the copy, we have to remove some additional permissions we don't want to assign to the employees, because we said that employees can read everything, but about creating, editing, and delete, they can do it just on movements. So remember, after this copy, Tom and Alice will have exactly the same permissions as the manager until we remove those permissions. So when I click here, permission copied. So now, for example, products, employees, here we go. So right now, Tom and Alice can log in our application and do exactly the same things that managers can do. Okay? To avoid that, you can use this little trick. So when you change permission and you copy permissions from a group having wider permissions, and you don't want to leave this few seconds or minutes allowing in this case employees to have more permission than they should, you can work on the app status. You can put your application in maintenance mode, change maintenance mode means that only admins can use the application, and once you have done with your permissions, once they are fine, you go back in available mode. Okay? Anyway, so let's go back to our permission for employees. So, well, let's start from A4 trends. A4 trends. Okay, this should be a read-only table. So no. Well, we can leave the export to CSV. We can also leave the access to the details and save permissions. And then movements is fine. They can do everything on movements. Products, again, that is a read-only. So no, and save. Suppliers, again, no, and no. And under stock products, no, and no. By the way, the two views under stock products and A4 trends also for the other groups should be read-only, because they are views. I mean, you can actually add the records and modify records from view under certain conditions, but I don't want to open this parentheses this topic. So at least for our application, it's better if you keep the views read only. Okay. Anyway, we are done here. So we can just try to see what happens if I log out and log in as Alice. Okay, the dashboard is fine. Movements, I can do everything. Products, I can only see data. I cannot create or edit data. I can see from the results grid. I can export to CSV. I can see the details page, but that's it. Okay. Same for suppliers. Same for understock products. Same for A4 trends. Okay. All right. So there is much more to say about permissions. It's a big topic, but I think these are the basic things you need to know. I don't want to go to talk too much about permissions. A few months ago, I made an entire live about permissions, all about permissions. So I will link that live if you want to know more. I will add just one little thing about permissions, and in particular about owner, the so-called in DaDaBIK owner permissions. Okay, this is done. Each employee can only edit and delete the movement they created. How can we implement that? So first of all, we need to track who is the employee who created a movement, right? Or more in general, who is the user who created a movement, who registered a movement. Because at the moment, sorry, I need to log in as a root again. So at the moment in the data page, we can see that for movements, we don't keep track of the user who created the movement. So we want to add an additional field here. We can call it user, or I don't know, creator. It's a short text, and this will contain the username of the user who created the that specific movement. Okay, nullable yes, because we already have some records, and save. Okay, now form configurator, movements, creator. Oh, sorry, typo here, creator. Okay, form configurator, movement, creator. This field is not something we need to manually set during the creation of the movement. It should be something that DaDaBIK should set automatically with the username of the current user. And that's a field type for that, and it's called ID user. ID user is, a field type for which DaDaBIK takes the username of the user currently logged in and use it to fill the corresponding field. Okay, and save. What we have to do in addition, in terms of permissions, is this. So for employees, but in general for all the groups, we should remove creator from the insert form. So create, no. We don't need that. Maybe we don't need it from the edit form as well, we can leave it, but we can leave it as disabled. So the value, the creator will appear in the edit form, but as disabled field. Okay, and save. Again, I won't do it, but you should do it for all the three groups. So now, if I create a movement, let's do it. Let's try it. Well, I am root now, but it doesn't matter. Let's create a movement from here. Coffee beans. Create new item. Quantity 10. Oh, okay. Now I was wondering why I see the creator, but that's because I am root and I didn't remove creator from the insert form. So I need to log in as Alice to try this feature. And also I see that the label is wrong here. So label creator. Okay. So let me log out and log in as Alice. Okay, movement, create new, coffee, quantity 12, supplier, all right. So as you can see, the creator has been set automatically, Alice. All right. So now, well, I can, obviously I can change this. So quantity 13, for example, I can do that. But let's try to implement this. Each employee can only edit, delete the movements they created. So we need once again to log in as root. One thing you can do is to open two browsers. One logged in, you log in as root, and the other one you log in as one of the other users. The beta development mode also helps you a lot during the development, but during this tutorial I won't discuss that, but of course I recommend to have a look at that. And all right, I'm root now, so permissions, movements, employees, and we can say that employees, right now we have yes, 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 and we'll change this with my, and well, no, that's it, my and my. So users can, well, employees can only delete and edit their own movements. Okay, save. So log out, Alice, movements. Okay, this is my movement, Alice, so I can change it. Okay, this is not, well, I mean, at the moment there's no creator here, but it's not mine. Okay, so if I try, you don't have the authorization to modify this item. All right. So even if here I had Tom, Bob, or anyone else, I would get exactly the same result. And even if I try to delete. Okay. All right, that's it about permissions. So this is also done. We still have to set required fields. It's very, very simple. So basically, for each field that you think must be required. Let me once again log in as root. For any field that you think must be required, for example, let's talk about products. Let's say that name and description must be required. Then form configurator, products, name, required yes, and description required yes. Okay, so now you see this red asterisk here. So if I try to save my record without these two pieces of information, then I get an error. One thing you should do in addition to that is from the data page, change the nullable setting accordingly. So if you set name and description in form configurator as required, you should also set nullable no from the database point of view. Okay. All right. Set required field. Okay, I think we are done basically. So we have now a multi-user responsive nice web application that we can use to manage our inventory. Well, we have all the basic features we wanted to implement. Our data is stored in a relational database. The DBMS is MySQL in this case, but as we said, we have other options. Microsoft SQL Server, PostgreSQL, SQLite. We installed the application, in this case, on our local machine, but you can move the application basically everywhere. Okay, on your server, on the cloud, wherever. When you decide to move the application, you just need to, move all the files and the database and just change the few configuration parameters that are strictly linked with the server. For example, the database username and password. Another parameter that you may need to change if you move the application somewhere else is the upload directory. That is the directory where DaDaBIK stores whatever you upload. So, for example, these pictures. If you remember, we didn't set that parameter in our config custom file because we just used the default upload directory. That is a directory called uploads inside the DaDaBIK root directory. But from the security point of view, it is much better. I recommend to do it to move the upload directory outside the document root. Okay, but anyway, you can read about that in the manual. So that's it. I just want to tell you, well, to introduce you something about low coding. So far, I mean, we have built this application with a 100% no code approach. The only code we wrote was a very simple and basic SQL code for the creation of the views, right? However, if you want and if you need, you can add your own PHP and JavaScript code to your application. How? In many ways. So this is I can introduce you a few methods. Basically, here in Form Configurator, in low-code logic, you can find most of the options to inject your code. You have, for each field, you have a list of custom functions that you can use to do several things. For example, calculated field function. And let's go back to products and price taxes. So price taxes was a formula field. We took the price and we multiplied by 1.05, right? This is a calculated field using the formula approach. However, you can also express your logic, your formula in PHP if you need more complexity. For example, let's say that we have the price in US dollars, and in this field you want to, let's say that is not price taxes, is price euros. You want to have automatically adjusted the price in euros. So we don't have here as a formula field something that automatically convert from one currency to another. So maybe we should we should use a service, an online service that provides the exchange rate today, right? So we can write a PHP function that, and we would need like 3 lines of code that calls the API of a service providing the exchange rate, get back the rate, and applies to the price in dollars to return the price in euros. And you can do it like literally writing a function, a custom function. You write your own code in a specific file. We won't cover this in this tutorial, but it would just need to, write those few lines of code, assign a name to the function, and then choose the function from this list, okay? Because the function then will appear here. Calculated field. Custom validation. We saw some built-in validation features. For example, we know that if a field is set as email, right, as content type email, then DaDaBIK performs a validation. At least the syntax should be the valid for an email address. That's an example of validation. We have other built-in examples, but of course maybe you need some complex, more complex validation logic. In that case, you can implement your own logic in PHP, and again write your own code, write a function, and then select the function here to validate the field during insert and update. You can also provide custom error messages, and so it's a very complete feature. For example, here, one thing that we should do is right now when you add a movement, let's say you add a sale, so a movement where the quantity is negative, the system doesn't check if you have enough quantity available, right? So you can also end up with negative quantity in stock in the products table, which is not correct. We should check if we have enough quantity in stock before registering a sale. And this is something you can do with custom validation functions. Just another little example for a custom formatting function. A custom formatting function allows you to transform your content here in the grid or in the details page according again to your logic. For example, we can say, okay, if the quantity is less than the quantity in stock is less than the quantity reorder, then display the quantity stock in red. This is something we can do with custom formatting functions. Okay, so I skipped the rest of this part. I just wanted to give you a quick overview. I just want to mention other two possibilities you have to add your own code. Operational hooks. So you have several events in your DaDaBIK application that can trigger the execution of a custom function you write. And second, custom buttons. You can add, these are standard buttons, but you can add here, here, other buttons that again execute some custom code when the user clicks them, right? Let me give you an example. Let's say that very often you need to register a standard sale for a product, like a sale having quantity 10, okay? Instead of going through the create new item and so on and so forth, maybe you can have a button here called register a standard sale. Then when pressed, just register a sale for this product today for quantity 10. Okay, so I guess that's it for today, and see you next time. Ciao.